Today, I want to talk about what skills are and why people are talking about them. When I talk to customers about skills, I usually describe them as a combination of text and sometimes also code that an agent can run and consult. Skills are basically things to teach the agent how to work. It can be things like voicing and decision making. Here's what you should sound like, and here's how you should resolve ambiguous things. Here's how I want you to act under this situation versus this situation. They can also point the agent to another place. So I might say, hey, if you're asked about this, go fetch from the web this website and read these pages to get a result and then write back. They can also include tactical know-how. If I send you an article I want saved, here's where to save it. Let's look at one in particular. Here is the warm introduction drafting skill I have. Often I find myself in the position where I need to introduce two people. I typically like to keep it simple. So I told the agent, this is kind of what I like to do. I like to say hi to one person. I'm connecting you to the other person. Typically when I email Carly and I say do this, I say introduce this person to this person. So they'll say, hi X, connecting you. And then where am I getting this? Well, here I'm telling the agent to actually research. It's going to now do a web search on each person, grabs their job title, the company, one line, just so we know who's who, and then puts it right in there. If I'm connected to them myself, they're in my CRM, it's updated automatically. So sometimes I'll tell the agent, okay, also add a line about how we know each other. Often I like to keep it simple and omit that, but this explains that too. And then we do the short bio for the other person. And then my signature is usually appended automatically via Carly, and that's it. So this has made something I used to do all the time and sort of dread very quick because I can just text or email Carly, introduce these people. It's boom. I think this goes right. Actually, it sends automatically or it drafts. I can't remember. Typically, when I set up a skill like this, I typically like a draft or something for me to review first before I just let it out in the wild. And then once I'm comfortable with it, I say, okay, you can just send this when I tell you to do it. Now, skills can also include code. And that should not scare you because really code is just a bunch of language, just like all of these were, except it executes certain actions. So this skill is an API call. It takes some of my credentials, which I store on Carly, safely on integrations, and it gets a meme image with the text that the agent or I come up with, and it's very reliable. This, of course, could be something that we just had in normal text like up here, and we say, if I ask you for a meme, use this API, but that would mean that the agent would have to continue to search every time I emailed it to come up with a meme and find the API, find the documentations and how to structure its query. This is much simpler because we're saying, okay, remember this is how you generate a meme. So the way this came about is I did it once and I said, okay, save that as a skill, and it ends up here. This is really just scratching the surface of a ginormous ocean of things you can do with skills. It's hard to wrap your head around what skills can do to enhance your workflow and increase the quality of outputs you see. I'm not a designer, but if you do design or UI work, skills are a great way of teaching the AI to not look like AI slop, no left borders, no blue in this font. You can actually get really beautiful looking things with the right skills, and you can just look up skills online. They're pretty fungible. Now, I think it's worth explaining what skills are not. Skills are not the place to put recurring tasks or recurring workflows that you want to happen over and over. The way that skills work is when there's an existing agent running, or when you email an agent and start a new thread. The agent has a list of skills just like this. Imagine it's like a person sitting by a computer with this screen open. That's how to think about it. And when you ask it for information that pertains or request that pertains to one of these skills, it will go and look at the skill and then go back to the task and do what it was doing. So when I email it, introduce these two people, it's going to look at all these things and think, is there anything relevant to what I'm doing? It will see warm intro drafting, open this, read this, and then continue along its way with the new information's instructions. Now, if I wanted to say something like, every time I get an email from someone requesting a warm intro, draft a warm intro email, this is not the place to put it. Why? Because skills are only seen when an agent gets a request to do something. So this is not going to create the scenario in which it's going to get recurring requests. You have to trigger that. So what if you do want an email coming in to mean the agent should draft a warm intro email? Workflows are like, if you've ever used Zapier or Make or N8N or one of these workflow automation tools, this is the same exact thing. You can ask Carly to create you one, and it could say, every time I receive an email, see if it's about someone who wants an introduction, and then make the introduction. Workflows is a great place to do that. So are scheduled tasks. Don't put it in skills. Skills are static. They're only used or updated when you're requesting something from an agent. I hope this was helpful. If you have any more questions about skills or anything related to AI or agents, feel free to reach out to me. Visit usecarly.com and you can find my email on there.